Hey, Retention Pros. I'm Noah today, and I lead partnerships here at Malomo. I'm super pumped to continue to chat with ecosystem experts alongside Mariah, who you all already know and love. Say hi, Mariah.
Hey everyone! As you probably know, Retention Chronicles likes to bring in some of the best retention-focused brands in the Shopify ecosystem.
But we don't just feature brands. We also feature some great thought leaders in the Shopify ecosystem that serve those brands.
And because we always want these conversations to be fun, you'll hear us talk to our guests about what they're excited about and what's helped them get to where they are today.
We hope you'll stick around to learn and laugh with us.
Retention Chronicles is sponsored by Malomo, a shipment and order tracking platform improving the post-purchase experience. Be sure to subscribe and check out all of our episodes at gomalomo.com. Okay, so hi Noah. We're in person.
All right.
This is fun. Okay.
It's rare.
Okay, yeah, I know.
Even though
For
we
the
live like a mile away from
I know. I know. It's a shame. But it is more fun to do it in person. We'll have to see how it works out with the audio. But okay, we have from our last chit chat, we have a couple of things that we said we were gonna do, and I'm curious if we actually did them.
Okay.
And I don't think we
I
did.
can tell you probably for me.
Also no for me. Did you try out Google multi-search? No, neither did I.
I did. I think I did spend like 10 minutes right after that, like looking at it a little.
Like
It
trying
looked
stuff
really
out.
cool. And I'm like still surprised that we're not hearing more about it.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like gonna become a new way or if it'll just be like convenient for people who use it, you know? Like kind of like Siri. Like I forget sometimes that we have Siri.
Yeah.
And then it's like, or like
And then you see somebody
text.
use it.
Yeah, and then I'm like, oh my God, I should use that more,
That's
you know?
genius. I wish I had. Oh.
Yeah, and you're like, no, I do. Or like the speak to text features where it's like you can
Yeah,
just like
that's
speak it
very
out loud.
convenient.
Yeah, but sometimes I just forget about it because it's like we're not used to it. So I wonder if Google multi-search will be
It just takes some getting used to, sort of thing.
yes. I think so. Okay. And these are just really quick, so I was gonna run through these. But okay, in the like from last episode, we said we were making the TikTok about bored cow. And we haven't released it yet because the bored cow episode just came out yesterday. So it's gonna come out this week, like the actual TikTok. But thoughts on making it all. I mean, I know you weren't really like on the editing side, but just doing it.
I really enjoyed it.
You got to try.
Anytime brands want to send us
Anything.
fantastic tasting milk or you know, food and beverages are, this is a fun fact for listeners that surprised me. Food and beverage is our number one vertical in terms of number of brands that we serve.
Yeah. Which
surprised me because I thought it would have been like fashion and apparel or cosmetics. But those are actually 2 and 3, and food and beverage is number 1. So yeah, any other F&B brands gonna send us some samples for TikTok.
We'll take them.
We'll take them. We will come to the office and record together.
Get episodes.
Give legit reviews.
Yeah.
And I think the good news for Bored Cow is it was very highly rated by all 3 of us.
Yeah. Yeah. And Matt tried it too the next day. I don't know if you were in the office for that. I don't think so either. I think it was just Kurt actually. And so I made him like guess which each flavor it was, like comparing it to almond milk.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that was fun. Nice. For one of them, I think I poured way too much like chocolate syrup because I was just like, Matt, this is what I got in my house. So it's like almond milk and chocolate syrup. And he was like, I was like, I don't know at first. And he was like, but this one tastes better. And so I was like, well, that is the bored cow one. But I was like, I think I overdid it with the chocolate on the other one that you're just straight up drinking chocolate syrup.
It's kind of hard to beat.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. I was like, I think I didn't get the ratio right. But it was still really fun.
Also, very nice to have the donuts to go with.
Yes. Yeah, those fries.
I don't know if we put that on TikTok.
I don't think so.
No donuts.
No.
Donuts.
Yeah. That could be an area of improvement for us to put some donuts in the TikTok. Yeah, those were clutch. They're so good.
How was the editing and all of them?
Honestly, it took longer than I anticipated. And I also, this is like duh on my part, but I realized we filmed it landscape instead of vertically. And I was like, that's so dumb on my part.
Oh, because like.
Yeah,
you
because it's
can't
supposed to be
just-
your phone.
yeah.
So it's like, it looks fine. It's just like, it's like you flip something
Yeah.
landscape and we're all three of us landscape. And that is somewhat to do with our office, just the office space, like
Right.
to get us all in where we were sitting, we kind of had to do landscape. But when I was editing, I was like, oh, yep, definitely forgot. Like, I know that, but forgot about it. And then, yeah, piecing them together is also hard to like line up. So it gets to be like a shorter video, but you're still getting like good pieces. So I found I had to like take out like a lot of little snippets of like pauses and stuff. So I definitely have a lot to learn on the like editing side of things, of how you make like how you make that process more efficient. But it was still fun to put them together, and I think it's cute. It's not, not super professional, but I like it. So it was fun.
Nice.
Yeah. And then other follow-up question before we get more into like topics is, and this can be the first topic, but how do you think Black Friday, Cyber Monday went? We've chatted about it with some partners on the podcast, but those episodes haven't been released yet.
Yeah.
So overall,
I think like better than I expected based on like some of the numbers that I've seen from Shopify and Klaviyo and some of our other partners. I was like, honestly, this is my first ever Black Friday, Cyber Monday in e-commerce, so I didn't really know what to expect.
Right.
Plus all of the stuff happening in like the macro economy. I like had no idea what to expect, but I was kind of pessimistic.
yeah.
And so it was great to see like really strong results. It sounds like across the board. Like I don't think that there was anything I saw that indicated a slowdown or a miss on what we were expecting, even in good case scenarios, which is great. That being said, I had a call this morning where we were talking about like how we feel going into next year in terms of like the macro economy and how it will trickle down to the e-commerce industry and Shopify in particular. And I'm kind of pessimistic, to be honest.
Interesting.
I think that a lot of the not that I think like long-term e-commerce is here to stay and going to continue to do very, very well, but I could see a little bit of a pullback next year. And the reason for that is I don't think that a lot of like the job losses that we've seen across tech have hit the economy yet in terms of like consumer sentiment and spending. And I think that, a lot of things that are purchased, at least in our ecosystem, are, nice to haves and not absolutely crucial in a lot of cases. So I could see that while there are still tons of jobs out there, like that doesn't mitigate the fact that like tens of thousands of high paying jobs were lost this year. And I think that we all did a pretty good job of saving during the pandemic, but that trend is flipping on its head, and American saving across the board is way down recently, and credit card debt is way up. And at a certain point, like the nice to haves aren't going to be as justifiable to spend on. And so while Black Friday, Cyber Monday was awesome to see, and long-term prospects of e-commerce I couldn't be more bullish on. I think that in the short term, we could see a little pullback next year.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I was thinking more from like the investor point of view of like people. That's what I thought you had meant initially, is like now that tech was overvalued and like Shopify, and like just with layoffs, I thought you were going down the road of more like tech and software was gonna not be as overvalued, and then because of that, like it was gonna hit the Shopify ecosystem. But I do think, the consumer market, that's also very interesting.
I would totally agree with you, by the way, and I think that it's a flywheel where like those, lower valuations, and maybe that translates to lower compensation across the board, or lower average comp. Like that has an effect on how we spend as consumers as well.
Yeah.
So I think that I agree, and I think that they're related.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So I'll put a bookmark in for this time next year.
Yeah. We should do maybe a quarterly, how are we feeling about, the market and where are we at? But yeah, while I don't want it to come off like negative Nancy over here.
Yeah. Negative Noah.
Yeah. Negative.
Yeah.
Of course.
It was right there. Come on.
Right. Maybe that's when I get it. Yeah, I think, like I said, long term couldn't be more bullish. Short term, my prediction is a little more. There's more pullback to be had.
Yeah.
Like even with all the reductions we've seen in.
Like it wasn't like just get to Black Friday and then everything will be fine. It was
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So nice to have the strong results, but I don't necessarily think that's an indication for the months ahead.
Okay, one more thing about Black Friday though, that I wanted to speak to is we just had our town hall meeting internally for the company, and we tracked 4 million shipments. And so I was also, because I haven't heard from partners, I haven't really spoken to merchants since Black Friday, Cyber Monday happened. So I was oh, I'm curious what they think went, how it went. But just from Malomo, our standpoint, it also went well, obviously, because if our merchants are doing well, and what you were saying of having spoken to partners and other people and just getting in touch with the people in the ecosystem, it makes sense that we would also be doing well. But do you think has your opinion come from talking with partners, or has it been from reading stuff or social media? Where do you think?
Yeah. So I listened to a couple podcasts about the economy and the market, stock investing. And there's this constant debate of whether or not we're in a recession or not. And the way that I see that is it doesn't really matter. On an individual level, it doesn't really matter. People are losing jobs, but consumer spending still tech companies like Maloma are continuing to grow, but valuations are still declining. And so all of that's just to say, those are just a couple of examples of recessions only are in the eye of the beholder in a way. And the impact of recession is really in the eye of the beholder. There's a lot of people in America right now that feel like we're in a horrible recession. Yeah. And there's a lot of people right now who feel haven't even seen or felt the impacts of the macro economy trends yet. But I think that they will. Most people will. Yeah. Outside of the uber wealthy. And even they will probably see it eventually. So that's why I think we just haven't seen the result of some of the less good things that have happened this year come to fruition. Everything's remained pretty great so far. And I think that we're still going to see the more pullback as a result of some of the things like major layoffs that we saw this year.
Yeah.
Come to fruition.
Okay. Makes sense.
Oh, one more thing.
Yeah.
That I talked about earlier on the call that I mentioned is I think that why the Black Friday Cyber Monday was huge, and like I said, I didn't see anything that pointed toward negative results, or not as good results as even as brands wanted to see. But I also think that this is very pessimistic, but I think that a lot of people understand that with inflation being up and wages or jobs being down, they had to buy on Black Friday Cyber Monday because it's their chance to get gifts and things for themselves at the best possible price.
Interesting.
And so I'll be really interested to see what happens shipment volume wise in December, more than and comparing that to Black Friday Cyber Monday, because typically I read something, again, this is my first year in it, but typically like you see a huge bump in Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but you also see continued spending throughout December as we lead up to the holidays. And my hot take is that will be down this year. And that a lot of people spent on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, largely because they knew that that's when they could get the best deal. And their shopping will be down in December this year compared to previous years.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to.
I can have no idea what I'm talking about.
That'd be funny if it's just like completely opposite of what we say.
Yeah, and like also I'm taking the pessimistic view, so it's like easy to hate me. Told you.
Yeah, that's exactly why we're sitting on different sides of the table. So I can have an optimistic view. I think it's gonna go great. No, I think also it'll be interesting because I feel like I was speaking to my friends about this, and I feel like this Black Friday, like I just didn't get all my shopping done. I just like it was kind of crazy. And so a couple of my friends felt that as well. They were like, I feel like I missed out on like all the good deals. So curious if that's like more on a if that's on a larger scale too. I do think around the holidays as well, it's so unpredictable, like I think everyone would say, but I'm so intrigued by like the social obligation of like gift giving around this time of year. And if like people would be like, okay, I like stock up on gifts to get for like later throughout the year, because that's something that like when I have a really good friend that she's great at giving gifts, and it's because she's like always thinking about gifts to get like the most important people in her life. So she has like a notes app, notes in her notes app that's all about just like her top 10 people that they say something and she writes it down. And then like 6 months later, it's like what you mentioned in one conversation. It's like, my God, like, how do you know? But it's just that like piece of like picking up and like being intentional about gift giving. So I wonder if there's also a market for people like that, where they're like, okay, I know my, like obviously get all these Christmas gifts, but I know my like family's birthdays are all throughout like the rest of the year, right? Like I'm gonna get stuff during Black Friday for like 6 months or whenever their birthday is. That's also like recently just come to the front of my mind, because I was like, had to start thinking about better gifts to get people, because I'm like, I'm sick and tired of just having to like be flustered and be like, what do I get
now? It's December 13th. I'm going on vacation next week, so I have like 3 days to buy literally everything in my life.
There you go. So we can use some of that planning to be intentional.
Planning would probably be.
Yeah, and I wonder if like there's been any like if there's any numbers around that of like people just buying like on Black Friday, Cyber Monday for the holidays, or if it's like they're also buying for gifts in advance.
Right. That's a great point.
Yeah.
I have not thought that. But I did on one of the podcasts that I listened to hear that suggestion of like you should have a notes, like one of your notes folders should be gift ideas, and like when your friends, loved ones say, oh, I like this thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big jump from going from that to 3 days left to buy everybody gifts.
We can say baby steps.
I have no notes.
I'm one of those people that live in my notes like app, where it's just like like if I have something, I have to put it in there or else I'll forget it. So like I have so many different things put in that freaking app. So yeah, definitely really funny, but that is like adulting at its finest, I feel like. Would be to have like a notes app dedicated to gifts. That's like, that would be impressive. Okay, do you have any topics that you wanted to talk about? I know you mentioned one about our favorite topic, TikTok. Do you want to get into it?
We can, yeah.
Okay. So I only saw that Texas was.
Oh, I just saw on LinkedIn.
Okay.
There's like one of the top news headlines is that 2 more states have banned TikTok.
Okay, so banning TikTok. Now, do you know enough to like walk me through the decision? Because I just saw the headline and I was like, what the heck? And then just scrolled past it.
I know like super high level, our government officials are concerned about like China capturing this personal data about American citizens.
Okay.
That's all I know.
Because I knew that was like a thing, like I don't know the timeline, maybe a year ago, or like when it first came out. And then I just hadn't heard of anything since about like banning TikTok. Cause I definitely remember kind of before I was on the app, I was like, I remember hearing about TikTok and just being like, oh, government, like the government might get involved, and then just like kind of feel like it fell off the face of the earth. And maybe I just like stopped paying attention.
Yeah.
But that was like the last time I heard about it. And then I just saw maybe 2 weeks ago, I don't know, Texas had decided,
Yeah,
or was talking about it or something.
yeah. So this is what the LinkedIn headline says: the state's decision, which is okay, more states taking action. Alabama and Utah have now joined Texas, Maryland, Nebraska, South Carolina, and South Dakota
Wow. Okay.
in prohibiting the short form video app. The state's decision come after FBI director warned that TikTok, owned by Chinese company ByteDance, has the ability to control the app's algorithm to, quote, manipulate content, and if they want to, use it for influence operations.
Okay.
Which is
Fascinating. Okay. So it is very interesting. Now, the more pessimistic, maybe we just title this pessimism this episode. But like, okay, my devil's advocate here, playing both sides. How is TikTok different from other social medias? Because like Facebook also, their algorithm, right? Like if that's
yeah,
like the influence is a big portion. And I definitely think people have to be aware of the influence and algorithms, and just like educating people around like, okay, just so you know, this is why you're agreeing with your content, is because it knows what you like.
Bias.
Yeah. Yes. And so there's that side where it's like, okay, is it truly like TikTok is that much better, or so much better at predicting algorithms, or predicting what someone wants to hear than like Facebook or YouTube or Instagram? Like, is that what is putting the heat on TikTok? And then I don't really know if this is a counterpoint, but like, or also like, well, first, let me pause. Twitter also, like that has been more of a politicized platform as well. And so I'm curious if like this maybe starts a chain of events where other social media platforms are included in this, where it's like, okay, we do not want to have algorithms that are really good at predicting people's behavior because of confirmation bias, and it just leads to more polarization? Or is it the fact that it's a different government has information? And I think that's probably the latter. It's probably what's more important. And I read, do you know Pete Buttigieg? He was so presidential-elect. And so I've read his book called Trust. Okay. Great book.
Okay.
And it basically walks you through like how we've lost trust throughout our nation's history, and where, you know, you can kind of pinpoint those things happening. And one of the elements that he touches upon is like the media, whether it's like traditional news channels, and then now more social media, and how algorithms have played into dividing people, and how that's been like how it's been either a conspiracy or proven that other governments have played into our elections or our like national standings on different things in the past couple of years. And I think it's super interesting that even though like Twitter was very much like part of the 2016 elections with Russia, that is not being investigated rather than TikTok as right now. So it's super interesting.
It is fascinating. I'm like, it's exciting in a weird way, because I'm reading a book right now called Influence.
Okay, yes.
And it's also an awesome book. Like it's probably like the 7th book I've read on like social psychology and how to influence people. And literally in the chapter that I'm reading right now, which is called Consistency and Commitment. It talks about how the Chinese in previous wars, when they've had like American prisoners of war captive, they've used like these extremely sophisticated, not extremely sophisticated, I shouldn't say that, but like very intentional influence tactics to get them to like understand their communist beliefs, and not only that, influence them to like spread that word amongst their colleagues, which like takes in other accounts of influence, like social proof, where like, people that you know and like think that you think like are now telling you like actually communism isn't that bad,
right?
And, like, and they did that very like in a very manipulative and like I said, like intentional manner, to the point where when those prisoners of war were released and they did like post-war interviews with our government, a lot of them came back with like positive views about communism and spreading them. And so the Chinese have always like done that, going back before technology. And so it's really fascinating to see that like that's the thing now that we are super concerned about with TikTok. And then I also think that I think because of the history that our government is like right to at least be wary. I don't know. I have nowhere near enough information to say whether or not it should be banned or whatnot. But I do think like the difference between TikTok and Twitter is you can get Elon Musk up in front of in front of Congress to answer questions. You can't get the BitDance CEO in front of Congress to answer questions. Same with Mark Zuckerberg.
Right. They're more like, they're founded
more,
here.
Right. And more accountable to the US government and law enforcement.
That's a good point.
The Chinese companies.
Because I definitely remember there was like rumors swirling about if like the US would try and just make their own TikTok platform. This was whenever a while back when I had seen like, oh, is TikTok going to be allowed or is it going to be banned? So yeah, very, very interesting, very curious to hear. I feel like just for like the commerce side, I would be so intrigued because so many are hitting it big on TikTok.
And we're betting on it right now.
And like our like entertainment industry and like celebrities and influencers are now like aligning more with TikTok influencers. Right. Where it's like now you see all these people on TikTok with reality TV shows and on the red carpet and interviewing, celebrities who were traditionally like actors. So I'd be very curious to see what that would look like.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that we need to do a little more research and come back with fuller opinions, because like I said, I have no idea like if I
this is kind of just first takes.
If I think that it's good that we're blocking it. I know Ashley does not, because Ashley has recently like basically gone viral on TikTok. Did I tell you this?
I don't think so. I knew you told me that she was trying to.
She had this one. I pulled it up.
Oh my gosh.
It literally has 4 million views.
Oh my god.
Gosh, and look what it is. It's just like very basic.
Oh my god, that is so views.
That's it.
Like it's just
for context, it's like she overshared at work.
Exactly.
4 million views. So now she's like, no way they can take this away from me. And
I'm
to your point, like there's probably a lot of brands who invested a ton of time and money in building their brand on TikTok. And I'm sure to your point, like they are absolutely freaking out.
And a lot of people go there for like their news source too. Like there's like trusted individuals who are like very knowledgeable about different things, and people are like, now I go to them instead of like these multimedia conglomerate, multi-million media, whatever conglomerate news channels, because they're like, this individual is just doing this because they have the knowledge, like not because they're biased by money or backed by political people. So it would be very interesting to see how it all works out.
Are you I know that you just recently started, but like, are you so into it that like you would be pretty bummed?
I mean, I would definitely be bummed, like, but I wouldn't be distraught over it because it is a lot of fun. Like I purely go on the platform and it's like comical.
Yeah.
And it is very educational. Like I'm a big believer in that. And I don't love to listen to or like watch the news or just listen to podcasts that are about the news because I find them depressing.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, TikTok, I can go on and it's like a little bit more lighthearted, but you still get a good tidbit of information of like what's going on. And I'm sure there'd be some that would say that's not trustworthy, but you know what? I have survived here until this point. So, yeah, I think it would be a bummer. It would be a change for sure. Because I do think I know I am like reliant on the platform to give me information and also just like for a break in the day. I'm like, oh, I'll just go on TikTok for like 15 minutes. Like that's my reward rather than like watching a Netflix show or something, you know?
I do that on Instagram. I'm not on TikTok, but
yeah, same thing.
But I also think like if Instagram were taken away, my mental health would be better.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have more time in my day.
Yeah, I'd probably be reading a book instead, but you know what?
But yeah, that's the realist in me. I would be annoyed if they were just like no more Instagram.
Yeah, and like I would get it, but I'd be like, oh, come on. It would be like a kid with like their mom like, you can't do that. And you're like, but why? And they explain like a really good reason. You're like, but I still want to do it. And you're like, God. Yeah. So it'd be like that, where it'd be like, oh, fine, I'll accept it, but not happily. So yeah, this has been fun though. We'll have some more things to chat about on our next one. That's for sure. Okay.
Good to be in person.
Yeah, good to be in person.